All right, today we're going to talk about something really fascinating. It's a city that was built on a prophecy and then abandoned, all within a single generation. We're talking about Fatehpur Sikri. It's basically a ghost city, frozen in time. A perfectly preserved masterpiece of architecture that tells this absolutely incredible story of faith, power, and in the end, a huge mystery. Get this. For just 14 years. That's it, only 14. From 1571 to 1585, this absolutely breathtaking city was the capital of the mighty Mughal Empire. I mean, just try to imagine that. The very heart of an empire stretching across most of the Indian subcontinent, ruling over millions of people, was right here. And then, poof, it was just gone. So that right there is the big question. It's a puzzle that's had historians scratching their heads for centuries. Why would you pour unbelievable amounts of money, time, and just pure vision into building a capital city only to pack up and leave after a little more than a decade? Well, to figure that out, we've got to dive into a really personal story. Okay, so to really get why Fatehpur Sikri was even built, you have to understand the man behind it all, and a promise he made that came from a place of deep faith and, well, a little bit of desperation. So, picture this. It's the late 1560s, and Emperor Akbar is at the top of his game. He has everything. I mean, vast territories, crazy amounts of wealth, a powerful army, the whole shebang. But the one thing he desperately wanted, he didn't have. A son, an heir to inherit his empire. And for a ruler back then, that wasn't just a personal heartbreak. No, it was a full-blown crisis that could bring down his entire dynasty. So what does he do? He's desperate. He turns away from all his worldly power and looks for spiritual help. He goes to see this famous Sufi holy man, Sheikh Salim Chishti. Now this guy was a mystic, all about that personal connection to God, living a really simple life in a tiny village called Sikri. And here comes the most powerful man in the land to this humble saint with just one thing to ask: please, pray for a son for me. And the sheikh gives Akbar a prophecy. He actually predicts that the emperor will have an heir, and soon. And then, amazingly, in 1569, it happens. Akbar's wife gives birth to a son, the future Emperor Jahangir. Just like that, the prophecy came true. Akbar was, as you can imagine, overjoyed. He was so grateful, he decided he had to honor the saint in the most incredible way he could think of. We actually have the official court record, the Akbarnama, that tells us what he was thinking. It says he wanted to give outward splendor to this spot that had so much spiritual grandeur. Basically, he wanted to make the outside of this place as magnificent as its spirit. And his plan? He was going to build his brand new capital city right there, in Sikri. And just like that, one of the most ambitious and honestly fastest construction projects of the 16th century kicked off. An entire imperial capital just popping up out of a rocky ridge, all because of a single promise. The speed they built this thing at was just breathtaking. I mean, think about it. Within just 2 years of his son being born, the city was already rising from the ground. Then, just 2 years after that, Akbar wins this big military campaign, and he gives the city its official name, Fatehpur Sikri, which means City of Victory. Now, this city was designed to send a powerful message. It wasn't just about showing off his power. No, it was a symbol of unity. The architecture is this incredible fusion of styles. It's like a cocktail of different cultures. You've got these big, grand shapes from his ancestors in Central Asia, all mixed in with the super detailed carvings from local Hindi traditions and the beautiful geometric patterns of Islamic art. It was literally his political philosophy built in stone. And the scale, oh man, it was just immense. I mean, just try to imagine it. The massive Jama Masjid, the main mosque with prayers echoing through it, or the mysterious Diwani Khas, this hall where Akbar would sit and debate philosophy with scholars from all over the world. You had the airy, 5-story Punch Mahal, which was basically designed to be a giant wind catcher. Huge, sprawling palaces for his queens, and these gorgeous pools that would just shimmer in the sun. This wasn't a town, it was a fully fledged imperial city built from scratch. So the city was a total triumph, a vibrant, bustling capital, and then it was empty. Almost as quickly as it was built, it was deserted. This is where the story takes a sharp turn. Okay, so why on earth would they leave? Well, historians basically have two main theories. Theory number one is pretty practical: water, or, a lack of it. The city was built on this rocky ridge, and getting enough water was a constant struggle. As more people moved in, that problem would have become a full-blown crisis. The second theory is a mix of military strategy and, well, maybe just changing your mind. In 1585, Akbar had to move his entire court up to Punjab to deal with some military stuff. And maybe, just maybe, after he'd fulfilled his promise to the saint, the Passion Project was just over for him. And to really understand what was lost, you have to hear this. An English traveler named Ralph Fitch visited right around the time it was abandoned, and he wrote that Fatehpur Sikri was much greater than London and very populous. Let that sink in. This wasn't some backwater town. This was a genuine world-class metropolis, bigger than London. Now, fast forward just 25 years. Another traveler, William Finch, goes to the same place. And his description? It's haunting. He just says it is all ruinate, lying like a waste desert. Wow. The speed that it fell into ruin is every bit as shocking as the speed it was built. For hundreds of years, the city of Victory was just silent, a beautiful, magnificent ruin. But its story wasn't over yet, not by a long shot. It was just waiting for the world to rediscover it and see it for the treasure it really is. And a huge turning point in its modern story comes in this year, 1986. That was the year Fatehpur Sikri was named a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And that's not just some fancy plaque. It's a promise from the entire world to protect its one-of-a-kind architecture and its incredible history for everyone, forever. And that's why, when you visit today, it's just so special. Because it was abandoned so fast and never really messed with, it's an almost perfectly preserved 16th century Mughal capital. Seriously, when you walk through its palaces and courtyards, it feels like the emperor and his whole court just stepped out for a minute. Which kind of leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Sure, Fatehpur Sikri was only a capital for 14 years. A blink of an eye, really. But it was born from this incredibly powerful spiritual dream, and it's still here today as proof of that vision. It really makes you think, doesn't it? What's the real measure of a city's greatness? Is it how long it survives? Or is it the sheer power and brilliance of the dream that created it in the first place?